Hey guys, and welcome everyone to Roo Hammer's weekly NRL round review, where this week we're going to take a quick look at the round 5 results and give our thoughts. Before we get started, I invite you all to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to show your support for the content we create. Subscribing to the channel also puts you in the draw to win some exclusive Roo Hammer merchandise. So click that subscribe button now. Rob, another great round of footy, mate. Some close scores. A couple of golden point thrillers and a remarkable come-from-behind victory by our One New Zealand Warriors, mate. Let's jump in and have a look at all those results.
Yeah, you said it, mate. Yeah, let's do this. Again, some very interesting results. As you said, golden point thrillers. And yes, that classic comeback, one for the ages there yesterday. Let's cast our attention back to Thursday night, though. And the first game of round 5 was the Roosters up against the Eels at Allianz Stadium. It was the Roosters 28, Keary 2, Hutchinson, Tupou and Bolo tries. Walker 4 from 6. Against the Eels 20. Gutherson, Simonson and Sevo tries. Moses 4 from 4. There's a high-intensity start. Both teams, plenty of ball movement. Will Penasini, he got sin bin for a professional foul in the 6th minute, and that put the Roosters on the attack early. And King Gutho with a great try-saver on Victor Radley, reminding the Eels that he is the X-factor man that they should be focusing on rather than looking for a fullback replacement. Isn't that bizarre? Bizarre story.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah. The Roosters opened the scoring with a numerical advantage through a long cutout pass from Walker to Polo, who finds Hutchison wrapping around on the outside. And then Eels with a second player sent to the sin bin, Bailey Simonson, this time for a high shoulder on James Tedesco. And Tedesco was ruled out for the remainder of the game in the 23rd minute. And Joseph Suali'i got his opportunity at fullback. The Roosters, with the numerical advantage, they scored again through Tupou in the corner, and with a number of early opportunities but denied, and that was a result of some strong Parramatta defence.
Yep.
Luke Keary scores just before halftime to give the Roosters a convincing halftime lead, and that lead is pegged back though after another try to King Gutho early in the second. Then the Roosters with tries to Polo, a second try to Keary, to go out to a 20-point lead, showing all their attacking skill and a dominant performance. But then there was some late tries to Simonson and Sevo, put some respectability back in the scoreline. But it's all too little, too late for the Eels. The Roosters winning 28-20, and the Eels slumped to 1-4 to start the season. Tedesco, with his failed HIA, he'll be subject to the mandatory 11-day stand down, and he will be unavailable for next round's game against the Storm.
Yeah, Suwali and maybe Joey Manu probably get that fullback gig for them. Yeah, weird game, that one. Roosters really convincing early on, but Parramatta came back and made a bit of a contest. But, something's happening at Para. They need to get some points, don't they?
Need to get started, yep.
Yep. Mate, Friday night kicked off with the Raiders and the Panthers at GIO Stadium, and it was the Panthers 53, Taruva 2, Tango 2, Cleary, Hosking, Peachy, Crichton, Salmon tries. Cleary 8 from 9 goals and a field goal over the Raiders 12. Whitehead and Young tries. Fogarty 2 from 2 goals. Mate, the Panthers scored a point per minute in that second half to run out 52-12 winners in what was probably the biggest score put up by teams so far this year, I think, in 2023. Yeah. Game was closely contested through the opening 40 minutes, and the Panthers led by just 7 points. After Sunia Taruva's double and a Nathan Cleary field goal going into halftime. The real damage was done in the first 12 minutes of the second period, where Isaac Tungo scored a quick-fire double and Cleary got over for his 50th NRL try to shoot the Panthers clear. Further tries to Zach Hosking, Tyrone Peachy, Stephen Crichton, and then Jamin Salmon made for a miserable night for the Raiders. The result gave the Panthers co-captain Isaiah Yeo a win in a milestone game number 200. James Fisher-Harris with a suspected MCL injury. He'll be a key loss in the coming weeks. Matt Frawley with a broken hand will miss up to 6 weeks. And Jamin Salmon getting his revenge on Ricky.
Ice cold, wasn't it?
Mouthing the now infamous weak-gutted dog.
You don't need to be a lip reader.
That was outstanding.
Yes, it was.
Mate, game 2 saw the Rabbits and the Storm play at Accor Stadium in Sydney here. The Storm 18, King, Warbrick, Munster tries, Meaney 3 from 3 goals over the Rabbits 10. Walker and Graham tries, Mitchell 1 from 2 goals. Mate, this was a pretty stoic defensive effort. by the Storm, led by the tireless work of hooker Harry Grant.
Yes.
We saw the Storm edge past the Rabbits 18-10 for their third win of the season. With the side leading by 8 inside the final 10 minutes, Grant and fullback Nick Meaney both produced tackles to save certain tries, headlining a gutsy effort from their side across the 80 minutes. Cameron Munster's try 3 minutes into the second half gave the momentum to the Storm when they led by 6 points. The Storm made 414 tackles compared to South Sydney's 351. With Harry Grant leading the way with a personal haul of 50. Melbourne completing at 85% of their sets in what could be a season-changing result for the Storm. Always good to see the Storm, played into form at this time of the season, coming up to an Anzac game.
Right before Anzac Day. Yes, of course.
Absolutely. Mate, Rabbitohs winger Alex Johnson, he suffered a Category 1 HIA after a vicious faceplant into the game, into the ground late in the game. He will not be available for the club's next game.
Yeah, it was a great game, and as you said, like I was kind of enjoying the Storm struggling, but yeah, it looks like that the worm is turning. So yeah, watch this space. Super Saturday kicked off at Mudgee Oval with the Seagulls taking their home game to the Knights to Glen Willow Oval, where both teams they couldn't be split after Golden Point extra time, finishing in a 32-all draw. So it was the Seagulls 32 points, Olakalatu, Tuipolotu, Parker, Tuolangi, Weeks, and Garrick tries. Garrick 4 from 6. And the Knights, the Predator, Dom Young, getting 4. Greg Marju and Johns tries. Hastings 2 from 3 and Miller 2 from 3. Josh Schuster ruled out through injury. And then Cooper Johns, he was named as his replacement. And that was the first game, actually, the two Johns brothers had played against each other. So that was an interesting one. Their dad was there. He would have enjoyed that one. And then, as we said, a rare NRL draw, the first since round 3, 2020. That was played between the Knights and the Panthers at Campbelltown. And Manly, they got out to an early 10-0 lead through some early dominance. Lockie Miller standing behind the goal line, making no attempt to tackle Olakalatu in Manly's first try. Truly bizarre. And all you can think of is he thought that he was on the 10-metre line.
That's all I can think of,
He gave some kind of vague description of it in the Matty John show, but didn't really explain it. But, it has to have been.
He just didn't want to miss tackle against his name. That's all it was.
That's right. He's massaging his stats.
Yeah.
Hamoli Olakalatu is then sin bin for a professional foul, and the Knights with some smart football. They got back to 10-all with 2 tries during that sin bin period. Lachlan Fitzgibbon then sin bin for a direct high shot, but it's the Knights who take an unlikely lead whilst the man down. Happened a few times this weekend, actually.
Yes.
And Manly, they strike back immediately to get the scores back level, but the Knights edge ahead again with a second try to the Predator. Dom Young got his crosshairs on the in-goal area again. And once again, the game goes back to 13-13. So, yeah, as we said, Dom Young with 4 tries. What a performance for a man that wasn't initially in the side.
Yeah.
And it was a game where the lead changed on 7 to 8 occasions. I'd hate to be a fan of either of these teams watching that. I just hate games that seesaw like that. It's just a bit of a cruel watch. But Newcastle are really surprising most people with performance. Lockie Miller getting better and better with each NRL performance as well. And regular time finishing with a 32-all draw. Golden Point failing to result in an outright winner. DCE with 26 field goals for 23 wins had 2 opportunities to take a shot in the first period of Golden Point, but opted to bomb instead. And then failed attempts from Hastings and DCE on the second period of Golden Point extra time. Both teams playing out a rare draw. The first since, as we said, round 3, 2023. Ben Trebojevic with a hamstring injury. Tyson Gamble with a head knock. Both unable to finish the game for their respective teams. And I think I know why DCE couldn't ice that field goal. It's because he wasn't playing against the Warriors.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Game 2, that was the newcomers, the new kids on the block, the Dolphins. They travelled to Wollongong to take on the Dragons at Wynn Stadium. Dragons 38, Ravalawa 2, Little, Laurie, Lomax, Hunt, and Sloan tries. Lomax 5 from 7 against the Dolphins 12. Asako and Tabuai Fido tries. Asako 2 from 2. Kiwi and Dolphins centre Jesse Bromwich playing his milestone 300th game and the 46th player to do so. Absolutely outstanding achievement for a man that plays hard and tough in the front row, and he's been one of the premier front rowers in the competition for some time now.
Yeah, yes.
And there was a boost for the Dragons with both Talatau Amon and Jack de Bellin. They were late inclusions. And this was the game we said, with injuries and suspension, the Dolphins would be tested and travel into hostile territory. And they left Queensland for only the second time this year. And tested they were. The Dragons, with a point to prove, scored 7 tries to 2 and were always in control once they hit the front. So 6 consecutive tries before the Dolphins scored late to put a little bit of respectability back in the scoreboard. And then there was an injury to Milford, and this again will test the depth of the Dolphins over the coming weeks. Already missing chief playmaker Sean O'Sullivan out for an extended period. And the Dolphins, they lost Jaden Sewer to a calf injury. As we predicted, it was a Dragons win. And game 3, first versus last, with the undefeated Broncos hosting the winless, toothless Tigers at Suncorp Stadium. And the Broncos racking up 46 points. Ricky with a double, Staggs with a double, Capewell, Haas, Cobbo and Farnworth tries, Reynolds 6 from 7. The Tigers 12, Papali'i and Simpkins with the tries, and Dewey 2 from 2. Broncos were expected to put the Tigers to the sword, considering where both teams were situated on the ladder, first versus 17th. The Broncos scored first through Jordan Ricky, playing his milestone 50th NRL game. He showed some great footwork. And the Broncos quickly turned 1 try into 3 tries, as they've done so many times this year, within 10 minutes for a 16-0 lead. The Tigers' attack looked a lot better than the previous weeks, it must be said, with Luke Brooks obviously under instructions, to run first. But their defence, once again, just leaking easy points. And then it was tries to Cobbo, a second to Ricky, and got the Broncos out to a 28-0 halftime lead, and a huge score was looking to be building. The Tigers showed a little bit of fight in that second half. They went try to try with the Broncos early, but the Broncos dominated Broncos dominant first half, I should say, set up a strong victory. They now go 5-0 to start the season for the first time since 1998, and it was obviously a year when they won the premiership. And the Tigers becoming the first team since the Newtown Jets in 68-69 to start consecutive seasons 0-5.
There's a lot of troubles at that club, mate. There is a lot of troubles at that club. I at 28-0 at halftime, I said to you this will be 50 or 60. So
yes,
I think the Broncos took the foot off the pedal a little bit. They probably could have put them to the side a little bit more. Yeah. But mate, convincing.
Reece Walsh electrifying again. He had like 3 try assists, line breaks, and he's looking good.
Hey Rob, why did we let him go?
We will tell you the answer to that on Wednesday night, because there's a very good reason.
Sunday footy. We had 2 games on Sunday to close out the round. The first game, our One New Zealand Warriors travelled across the Tasman to PointsBet Stadium to take it on the Sharks in the Shire. It's a venue where the Warriors haven't tasted any victory or success since 2015. And you'd know better than I. Was that the game, the Sean Johnson try under the post? Was that game?
Sean Johnson miracle try in the dying seconds after it looked like Fafita had wrapped it up for the Sharks, scoring late. Yeah. What did Andrew Johns say? 15 out of 10 on the Richter scale.
Yeah, I was at that game. I remember that game well. And I've been to a lot of games since at PointsBet Stadium with walking out with my tail between my legs. But not this week, mate. The Warriors, 32. Egan, Niokore, Johnson, Kossi, Curran tries. Johnson, a perfect 6 from 6 goals. Sharks, 30. Mulatalo, 2. Wilton, Katoa, Kennedy tries. Hines, 5 from 7 goals. Mate, has to be said, one of the best come-from-behind wins in Warriors club history. We were down 12-0 after 4 minutes, 20-0 after 19 minutes. Mate, a remarkable win. And if you want to hear us talk about all the superlatives about this game, tune in live on Wednesday night for our full game review. The final game of the round, mate, was the Bulldogs versus Cowboys at Accor Stadium. It was the Bulldogs 15, Preston 2, Addo-Carr tries, Burton 1 from 2 goals and an all-important field goal. Against the Cowboys 14, Dearden, Chester tries, Holmes 3 from 4 goals. Mate, a Golden Point thriller to close out the round, with the Bulldogs getting the win over the Cowboys. And the Cowboys, they're just struggling to find some form and to close out games.
Bit out of
this season.
sync. Mm.
Absolutely. A 79th minute try to Addo Carr sent the game into Golden Point before Burton stepped up with less than 10 seconds left in the first half of extra time to slot the match winner from 30 metres out. The Bulldogs did lose Kikau pre-game to concussion, and Raymond Faitala-Mariner lasted just 2 minutes before he failed a head injury assessment as well. Cowboys fill-in fullback Tom Chester. He's made it 3 tries from 3 games ahead of Scott Drinkwater's return from suspension next week. And you'd have to think that Chester's got to be in that Cowboys 17 somewhere.
Has to be there somewhere, yeah.
Joshy Reynolds, Bulldogs' favourite son, he made his official NRL return in the 49th minute of the match, bringing the very small yet vocal crowd to their feet. Bulldogs forward Jacob Preston, he scored the first double of his NRL career. He picked up an injury alongside Max King, but both finished the game. And Helam Lukey, he left the field in the 70th minute with a hamstring injury for the Cowboys. Mate, Canterbury have secured their best start to a season since 2016 and have now won 4 of their past 5 games at Accor Stadium.
Yes, much improved side. And a shout out to the Price family, with Riley Price making his NRL debut for the Cowboys.
Absolutely. That would have been mixed emotions for Pricey himself. A Bulldogs favourite, obviously captained the club, won a grand final with that club. His son playing against the Bulldogs. Bulldogs get up in Golden Point extra time. It would have been very mixed emotions for Pricey in that game, I think.
Absolutely, would have been all over the shop. But yeah, great moment for the family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's take a look at this NRL ladder. The Broncos remain the only undefeated team on top of the ladder with a perfect 10 competition points. Our 1NZ Warriors in second on the ladder, 8 points. The Roosters in third, also on 8 points. The Seagulls on fourth on 7 points. The Panthers, Storm, Dolphins, and Bulldogs, they round out the top 8, all on 6 competition points, with the Dragons in 9th, also on 6 competition points, and the Knights are 10th on 5 points. And then the Sharks, Rabbitohs, Titans, Cowboys are 11th to 14th, respectively, on 4 points. And the Eels and Raiders remain in 15th and 16th, with just 1 win apiece. And the poor old Tigers remain winless and firmly entrenched at 17th, last place on the ladder.
Yeah, mate, Warriors in second. How good is that? How good is that?
Nobody would have picked that, especially not us.
No, we didn't. If you go back and watch our prediction show, none of us picked that.
Can we delete that quickly?
Yes. Don't forget, this coming Wednesday, we will be doing our full review of the Warriors win over the Sharks in our weekly live show. Now that we're back on the same timing, mate. Zone. There's no more daylight savings. That'll be 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. in New Zealand. Please, if you're a fan of our content, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our stream content. Other ways you can show your support is to subscribe to our Patreon program. The links will be in the video description, or head to our Redbubble store and grab yourself some exclusive Roo Hammer merchandise. Got plenty of designs honouring past legends of our club, current stars, as well as some great novelty prints reliving some very memorable moments in Warriors history. The link to our store will also be in the description below. That's it for this video. We look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday night.
Thanks very much, guys. Catch you then.